It's good to see you again.
Same, Philip.
Take care.
All right, you too.
Bye, Jeff. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to Surfside, California. It's a gorgeous Friday morning here, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming here, the thousands of you who spend time with me every single day. It means so much to me. Man, we got a lot to cover. I mean, we are seeing a lot of bluefin tuna down below San Diego, a lot. In the daytime, we're seeing it. The weather's vastly improved. There's a few guys who get that big night bite, but are they biting for everybody? We'll get into that and find out what exactly are they biting on, what we think the weekend portends, because the weather is going to blow up a little bit on Saturday, but it's going to get beautiful after that. And man, I think we're headed looking right down the barrel of some outstanding fishing. Also, we've got sea bass, halibut, rockfish up and down the coast, some decent surf fishing for some folks. We're going to go down to the Bay of LA and check in on our friend Steve Yatomi. And of course, the Danny Cadota show last night was absolutely fantastic. You know what time it is, my friends. It's time for the morning briefing. Oh, I gotta take a swig. Oh, is that good? Hey, make sure you like, subscribe, and share these videos if you like them. Deeply appreciate all your great support. Big stats for us. And we've got a couple of trips on the horizon. 2 spots opened up on our Apollo. It's a 2-day trip leaving the 31st of May. It should be great timing out of 22nd Street Landing. And then we have the Apollo September 8th out of Seaforth Sportfishing. So the first one's out of San Pedro. The second one is they'll be out of Seaforth. And if you want on either one of those, just send me a text. 657-227-6459. At the end of the report, I put together a bunch of shorts for you. A lot of those with Tucker McCombs. There's one on filleting fish, and then there's a whole bunch of really valuable information that Tucker McCombs from Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing will share with all of you. Incidentally, don't forget the California Sunday Kids Fish Free. Great opportunity. They're going to have gorgeous weather up there, and kids fish free. All right, let's get into it with you all. Last night, maybe a few guys had some okay fishing, but a lot of guys struggled with it. And man, it just feels like we're on the verge of a big explosion. I mean, the Pacific Queen had an explosion. You can say the Shogun, he had some really excellent nighttime fishing, as evidenced by this video. But a lot of guys are just seeing a lot of fish. And I know it's frustrating, man. You see it and you're like, come on, bite. Copious amounts of bluefin tuna. I'm not kidding. The Pegasus was out yesterday. That 150-pound bluefin tuna. And that is something I need to emphasize with you before I get into more of the specifics. There is a lot of this big fish roaming around now, so you definitely want to be tackled up. I'll get into that in a moment. But on board the Pegasus, they saw large, uncooperative schools of bluefin tuna. Milling, breezing, color spots, you name it, they saw it, and their weather vastly improved, like maybe 1,000% better. Got a little windy toward the afternoon, but way improved, and it's going to get beautiful here from now on. And I say, there's a little blow up, not that bad in some areas. You're going to get some wind, but for the most part, we're now getting into that good weather scenario. The Pegasus is reporting beautiful weather. They're out tonight on a 1.5-day trip. We'll be watching them. I told you the Shogun had some recent good fishing. Polaris Supreme in this morning, and not bad, 40 on the bluefin tuna, 4 yellowtail. That was a 2-day trip, so nothing wrong with that kind of a score. And our day guys, well, they are seeing that big fish also. You look at the San Diego out of Seaforth Sport Fishing, leaving in the morning, coming back in the afternoon, and they had 1 bluefin tuna, but that fish weighed in at $1.35. Gorgeous big bluefin tuna, and they also had 53 yellowtail. That's some good kelp patty fishing, and the more of that kelp patty stuff we start to see, the better it is, because it gives you something in between your potential big boomer stop on those bluefin tuna. Most of those yellows on the kelps, 5 to 10 pounds. You get an 18-pounder every once in a while, and they are biting on the fly line. Let's get into that tackle right now with you. I sometimes tell you to throw the 25-pound. I don't know, man. With that big fish around, you probably want to be fly lining like 30 to 40 pound right now. Fluorocarbon, www.optionusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. I like a little bit heavier line just because that big grade bluefin is really omnipresent right now, seeing an awful lot of it. So you might want to do that. Then you're definitely going to want to have probably a 60 to 80 pound rig now. You can sinker fish with that. You can throw those Daiwa Zacanas, 100 to 150 gram lures when you roll up on a spot of BFT. And of course, if you have a Daiwa 2-speed, 100 to 130 pound, there's a lot of big fish around town right now. The weather has vastly improved, and I'm hoping we are headed in the right direction right now. And same thing for the Ensenada Pongueros. They should get back on that bluefin tuna now. They have been dealing with breezy weather down there, fishing rockfish, doing well on that when they're able to get out on that. But now they will get back to bluefin tuna fishing for real. Sport fishing in Ensenada. He'll be out. I'll be checking with Louie. And then, of course, we'll be checking with our friends at Blackfin, Arnie Sport Fishing, Mara Sport Fishing. All those guys are great guys south of the border. They work their tails off to provide just such a great adventure for you. So that is something to keep in mind. San Diego seems like it's ready to go off, but you know, it makes you feel like, oh my God, are we going into that scenario where you see all these fish? Remember last year, you see them and they don't want to bite? I don't think so, because we've seen some pretty good bites so far this year. And again, you go back to the Pacific Queen a couple of nights ago, the Shogun, you look at what the Polaris Supreme accomplished here recently, and you gotta think that the light switch is about to go on. And we've been pointing toward this good weather scenario when we thought it might go, and we're away from the full moon. So fingers crossed that today we'll see some even better fishing. And then tonight, of course, I'll be watching that for you very, very closely. Hey, happy birthday, Wendy Toshihara from Heiser Line. Hard to find a better person, and a person who's done more for this industry with her fishing expertise and her enthusiasm for the sport. Happy birthday. And Dan and Kim. Dan from Dan and Kim fame. He's a member of the Friedman Adventure family. His doctor told him he was cancer-free, and all I see pouring out of Dan is a lot of gratitude, which is a great example for me to be grateful for all that I have. Dan, so happy you got that doctor's report. And man, I tell you, that meant a lot to me to see that, and to see the kind of person you are, who's never complaining, always grateful. Man, that is such a beautiful example for me also. All right, let's take a look at the rock fishing up and down the coast. It has been spectacular. It's been really, really good. We've seen good fishing south of the border down in Ensenada, all the way up into the Channel Islands, where it's still breezy, but coming down. And then, as I say, by the weekend, especially Sunday, this is going to be an absolutely gorgeous day. Great time to get out and catch some rockfish. And not only that, you might see that circus bite come back on. They have been picking at the sea bass up there in this windy weather, even in the windy weather, catching a few sea bass and a few halibut, which bodes well for when they get some good weather. It could really get rocking. And remember, all those shorts at the end of today's report, you're going to learn how to fish those sea bass. You'll even learn that Tucker McCombs and many of the guys, by the sound that the sonar emits, can tell what kind of fish it is. Pretty fascinating stuff, so stay tuned for that at the end. Looking for that to rebound. And of course, you know, the Pride out of 22nd Street landing, and several other boats have been in on some really good halibut fishing. The Pursuit, Native Sun out of 22nd Street, Dana Wharf's caught some calico bass and halibut. We've got boats at Clemente this morning, like the Thunderbird out of Davies Walker, and several other guys. So I am telling you right now, we could be looking down the barrel of some more halibut, sea bass, and of course those big yellowtail that the Fury out of Dana Wharf and the Thunderbird and several other guys have gotten in on. They combine that with also some good rock fishing. Hey, can I say buenos dias to my friend Valentino? Buenos dias, hermano. There he is. Great guy. Super good guy. All right. So hopefully we'll see more and more of that. Big yellows, sea bass, halibut. Remember, we're coming out of this wind. Water temps are really cool this year, as you know. I mean, really cool. Some of this water still below 60 degrees as we move deeper into May. That's pretty cold, so we'll see what happens. There are good things about cold water, as you well know. Rockfish flourish in it, kelp grows really well, and the A word, albacore, like cooler water. Just about like what it is right now. We'll see about that. Danny Cadota, what a show he put on last night, and everybody wanted to take it in the direction of albacore, so there was a ton of questions about albacore fishing. go back and listen to that Danny Cadota show. The guy's been in this industry for so long. He's a wonderful human being, and he has so much knowledge to share. And thank you. A couple hours of steady questions last night from all of you in the Friedman Adventure family. We deeply appreciate that. Jesus Gaona, barred perch fishing. Looks like with his young son there, and that is good stuff. Getting out in the great outdoors and catching some perch. There's perch, bar perch, because they like this cooler water. A little bit of yellowfin croaker and some halibut biting in the surf, and that is a great segue into the Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club, because they've got an excellent tournament coming up. I'll be involved in it. It's May 20th and 21st. All you have to do is go to one of 4 venues and sign up either on Saturday or Sunday. You can do it in the morning, afternoon. You can do it whenever you like. But it ends, I think it ends at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. At least that's when the banquet is in Redondo. Might end just a little bit earlier than that. $20, you're in. Take photos of your fish, send the photos in. You get bragging rights. You can win some great prizes. Go to www.redondorodandgunclub.com for more details. Or on May 20th and 21st, check in the early morning hours, 5 a.m. All these guys will be there. Big fish bait and tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach. Island fishing tackle in Carson, California. 22nd State Landing in San Pedro, California. And the Redondo Rod and Gun Club in, of course, Redondo Beach. And there's flyers at all those stores. So if you want to drop by and pick up a flyer, Big Fish Bait and Tackle, you can do that. Incidentally, Rada told me that he's going to have some kind of a sale for the guys that sign up for the Derby on that weekend. He's not announcing what it is. You walk in, you ask him, find out what it is, and you'll be able to save some bucks, enter a Derby, and have a lot of fun. So we definitely hope we see you there. Steve Yatomi is down in the Bay of LA, and they're catching lots of baquetas and all kinds of other species, just having a great time. Steve's another guy who does so much down in Mexico and other parts of the world, taking care of our brothers and sisters who need our help. And he does so much work, as do so many of you. So, Steve, I salute you. Glad you're having a great trip down there in the Bay of LA. I'm very excited about what we're seeing out of San Diego right now. There are a lot of fish, and they're big ones, man. We are seeing a lot of this. You know, there's some 50-pounders in there, but yesterday they saw a lot of this 80 to 150-pound bluefin tuna just milling around, colored spots, glassing them up in the daytime. Didn't want to bite. Last night, some boats got them, most boats did not, but we're moving in now to a good weather scenario and high hopes that this thing is really going to turn up. All right, make sure you check out the Danny Cadota show. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love these shorts. They're coming up next. If you want to jump on a Friedman Adventures trip, we've got a couple of spots open. I hold on to them in case you weren't with us earlier in the year. Just send me a text to 657-227-6459. I'll send you the list, but you better act muy pronto, muy fast, because they are going away really, really quickly. All right, as always, it's a pleasure to spend my mornings with you on the morning briefing. Don't forget, we've got a lot of other great shows, including our tackle show down there with Sam De La Torre at Island Fishing Tackle. That's a beautiful show where Sam runs around and shows you tackle that you can use in the current bite. Have a great day, and as always, it is my pleasure to spend time with you, and I hope to see you really, really soon.
Start off lifting this fin up to get a good angle, get as much meat as we can off the top. Make our initial cut down here. You want to get your knife in there, turn it by the spine, and then push straight across. That's your first slab. You turn around and do the exact same thing on the other side. One cut down here. Get your knife to the spine, push across. Then now we got to take the ribs and skin off.
Okay.
So that's the second part. Just want to line your knife along the edge of the ribs, make a cut, turn your knife, and push across. That's all.
Beautiful. We'll watch it one more time
all right.
again, just so we can get it down. What's the key to this, Daniel? If you had to say, would it be a sharp knife or what?
A super sharp knife. I think the most important thing is sharpening your knife before every bag. Keeping a sharp knife makes fish cleaning super easy.
When the water kind of started to mellow out after El Nino, the sea bass fishing kind of got really good again up here. I'm seeing just as much fish as I have the last few years. Squirrely, it's moving around a lot, hard to find, but I'm seeing volume when we are seeing it. When it kind of settles in and does its thing, it's going to be really good, and I think just as good or better than, you know, a lot of guys don't use the sound on the sonar at the islands. It's just loud, but I leave the sound on. You get so used to hearing it, you hear what they sound like on the sonar, because a lot of times you'll see them, the sea bass sound different than that. It's easier for us to distinguish what we're stopping on by the way it sounds, not necessarily by the way it looks. Halibut's tremendous. Seems like the halibut fishing's really good right now at the local islands. There's boats doing really well on that in the shallow water. I think the water's a little bit too cool and a little bit green up at Rosa for the halibut just yet, but I think, you know, like a couple weeks, maybe on this next moon, the halibut fishing is going to probably pick up there too. Halibut fishing's always been tremendous at the Northern Channel Islands, and then when the water warms up, we also at times have really good yellowtail. Probably 90% of the time we find sea bass, it's going to be on the sonar first. You know, the sonar technology has gotten better. Before, with the older sonars, the sweep was a lot slower.
Yeah.
So it was hard for us to see the sea bass, you know, because the sweep was so slow. So where we're looking around for a school on the sonar, stopping on them real quick, we don't catch them, then you try to get on the school again. It's a lot of looking around and a lot of hoping to get lucky and get on that school. 90% of the time in the Channel Islands, up this way for sea bass and for halibut, we're using live squid. So it's live squid on a dropper loop. Usually we use those Aki Twist, Owner Aki Twist J hooks.
Yep.
Or the Blacktail makes an Aki Twist, pretty much the same thing. Depending on the depth, anywhere from a 4 to an 8 ounce sinker and 30 to 40 pound test. We usually recommend fluorocarbon. Sometimes it's slider fishing. Usually when the water warms up a little bit, we're catching them on sliders and lead heads. The latest thing that's been working for us and other boats is the fluke, especially when squid's a little bit less accessible, hard for us to find the squid. You still have an opportunity to catch a sea bass on the white fluke plastic.
Commercial fishing gentleman brought him in. This is an arrowtooth flounder. This is a black-gill rockfish. Looks like a red, but as you can see, mouth and the gills are black on it. He was catching them in 1,800 feet.
Whoa, that is deep. Man,
Yeah.
Those things are really cool.
Yeah, look at the mouth on that thing.
Yes.
Crazy.
And you mentioned they catch a lot of those in Alaska?
Yeah, they catch these up north a lot, but you have to fish really, really deep around here to catch them.
All right, Andrew, thanks for sharing.